Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you perfectly, Victoria. Do you hear me good, dear?
Yes, I hear you good. Now, for all of our viewers, if there was someone, let me first apologize. Technology and me, we usually have a problem.
Who hasn't? Tell me very honestly.
So thank you for being patient. Thank you for still being here if you're watching us. And let us begin now. I hope you can see both me and Dilek. I can check then and I see us both. So welcome to the Self-Expedition Café, the November edition. The Self-Expedition, as you know, is designed to help you act, reflect, and to develop greater confidence and greater self-awareness in your roles, and to improve the most important relationship in our lives, which is the relationship with ourselves. Today, we will be talking about toxic relationships and how to recognize them and how to set boundaries so that we can have healthy relationships. And today with me is my dear friend, my dear colleague, Dilek Suzal. Am I pronouncing the last name right? Suzal, yeah. And Dilek is a self-mastery for business and career coach. We're in the same field. We work both as coaches and trainers, helping people create and improve the relationship with their self and to prosper and to grow and to thrive. So welcome, Dilek, and thank you for accepting my invitation. And also thank you for your patience in this panic with the...
Come on, it's really like, I am also not a very tech-savvy person, I have to admit. And in live streams, there might always be some stuff that can go south. So I think that it's no problem for no one, definitely not for me. Thanks for having me in your Self-Expedition Café in this November edition. I'm so happy with your invitation and so happy to be here with you today.
Yes, thank you. So we're gonna start now with our subject, and then later on, I would like to invite you, Dilek, to share your future projects and what you are doing. You're working on some very exciting projects, and I'll also share what I'm working with. So as you know, the whole structure is that every first of the month, I write the Self-Expedition newsletter, which you can read on LinkedIn at the moment and very soon on my new website. And I will ask you to subscribe if you find it very useful, and you will find it useful. And then we discuss the subject and we delve deeper into the matter. So the November Self-Expedition was on toxic relationships, and the subject line was actually something that happened to me, which is a colleague told me how lucky I am that I don't have children, so that I don't have to go home and I can stay late at work, which was a really toxic relationship. And you can read more in the newsletter, but I can say I'm an expert on toxic relationships. I had a toxic relationship with a partner, with colleagues, with a boss, sometimes also with things. We have toxic relationships with work. It can be with a friend, it can be with a relative, it can be with a parent or with a child. So toxic relationships happen from the bedroom to the boardroom. The contexts are various, and it happened to all of us. I think that each one of us has an experience with a toxic relationship. So, so how about you, Dilek? Can you share a toxic relationship, maybe an example that you had?
Of course. It's first of all, before I share my personal experience with your audience, Victoria, I have to tell you that after I read your newsletter, which I have been a subscriber for a long time, this title that you have said right now to your audience has captured me, hooked me immediately, because there's so many people in offices, as you say, or in our personal circles that are going through different stages of life, different styles of life, which should be definitely respected from both parties, and which is not always the case. And when it is the case, it is really hurting. It's really toxic. It's really like swallowing a piece that doesn't go down. And it stuck with me here, like it stuck with you. So I really felt your pain myself, because it happened to me, of course, like many times in the professional context. I can, of course, share with your audience an example. Let's say not for my corporate background, but for my current field of expertise, let's say in coaching. I was in this nice coaching relationship with this lady, a professional with many years of experience, and I was coaching her on a career coaching topic. We had very good conversations before, but at that particular day of the coaching session, she apparently came to the session with a bad mood, but really a very bad mood, a stressful one, and maybe painful one for herself as well. But whatever I said, she was kind of like looking from up above, and she was criticizing me for what I have said previously. I tried one thing, it didn't function. I tried the second one, it didn't function. The third one, she was kind of like slapping me in the face from one side to the other. Bah, bah, bah. I really didn't understand what was going on. But you probably are very familiar with this concept, this transactional analysis, like seeing people from different perspectives, adult to adults, kids, parents, all those different niveaus in communication. I hold on to that knowledge, thank God. So knowledge is always power. And I realized that she was at that very moment in that conversation, positioning herself as the parent role and seeing myself as the child role. It was subconscious, it was underconscious, it was non-conscious, whatever you might call it. The moment I realized what was going on in the conversation, I found a way to kind of like shifting roles and to bring us to an eye-to-eye level, telling her that I am an adult like herself, of course, not in words like this, but from a different method that we can see and use in coaching. And from that moment on, when we started to speak from an eye-to-eye level perspective once more, things started to take a positive direction. So in every type of toxic relationship, which might sometimes happen with the people we normally do not have toxic relationships, realization is the first key. Okay, this is what's going on. I shouldn't be taking it personally. This is just a contextual situation. What might be the solution for this? An immediate solution, preferably. So this is, of course, like easily said than done, because at that very moment, you don't say, what's going on? I mean, did I do something wrong? But knowledge is key. Preparation is key, I would say. And yes, this is what my personal experience tells me, at least.
Yeah, because once as you say, once you are in this toxic relationship in a situation, I mean, when it's with a client, it's in this 1 hour or 1.5 hours. But when you are in a toxic relationship with a colleague or with your boss, with something that is ongoing every day, or with your partner at home, then it's very easy to get dragged into the loop, and you are not aware also of you are aware that something is wrong because you feel it, because you feel drained, you feel hurt, you feel that something is wrong, but we are not aware of what we are contributing and how we are contributing to the toxic relationship, because a relationship is a two-way street, right?
Yes, definitely. And may I share something, if I don't interrupt you, may I share something here, Victoria? A quote from Adam Grant, I'm following him, he's an organizational psychologist, and he said, like, toxic cultures define success as winning a cutthroat competition. They reward people for stabbing others in the back. Healthy cultures define success as making contributions. They reward people for having others' backs. And good organizations elevate those who elevate others. So it's very important that how we contribute to the relationship, and it is very important how we contribute to the team, to the surrounding, to the community, to the organization that we work in. What is our
Mhm.
personal contribution to make things
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say are some, you already said ones, one is competition in a toxic relationship. A sign of a toxic relationship is competition, when I'm better than you are, or I did this better than you did it. So we are competing with each other. What might you say so that we can tell our audience how they can recognize that they are in a toxic relationship? Can you think of other signs?
Uh, Actually, I can, and I can also bring a different perspective here. For example, sometimes, Victoria, you might maybe think the same way. We are in a relationship that we find other people toxic for ourselves. We don't feel right around them. We have this stomach ache, there's some feeling that's going on that's difficult to describe, because sometimes it's difficult to put into words, but your gut feeling tells you, okay, you need to keep some boundaries between you and those people. But it might sometimes be the case that we happen to be toxic for others.
Yeah.
And how? And for example, you yourself as an experienced coach, as an experienced trainer, organizing these beautiful cafes and trying to provide some value to others, have some certain qualifications. When you're in a room with someone that does not have those qualifications, does not have those expertise, know-how, and this open heart to help and support others, they might take your niveau, let's say, hurtful to themselves. They might say, okay, personally, she's an amazing person, but her existence is kind of like hurting me because I don't feel there yet, because I don't feel that much qualified, and so on and so forth. I see these kind of relationships also adjustable in time. In a couple of years, for example, if that particular person really chooses to pursue a path like you did, put in that much of effort and attention and intention to that particular job or expertise, field of expertise that she wants to be in, and comes to a certain niveau that you can be both like in this eye-to-eye level again, coming to the same point, that toxicity that she created herself, which is not the real one, will dissolve immediately. So we can also think that that person feels toxic currently, but the others as well. Yeah.
I was experiencing internet trouble, so this is why I disappeared for a bit just to check. Today's day is a bit weird, but this is what happens. I was talking this morning to a friend, and we were discussing about pressure. And pressure. We always have pressure, and Murphy always works. So, so stress, as one of my dear teachers, John Grinder, says, is what you do with pressure.
Very good definition. Yes.
Okay, back to our subject. As you were saying, yes, it's actually in the eye. Like what we say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it's actually the perspectives is in us. So we need to be aware, as you said, of what we are putting in, and also then what the other person brings in. Because if there are no people, there will be no relationship, or a person and a thing, there will be no relationship. So for me, for example, what else can be a sign of being in a toxic relationship is when I need to justify myself constantly. Like why am I doing this, and to constantly explain my actions and my worth as a person, or when there is lack of trust and there is lack of support in a relationship. This is especially, it happens at work, among teams, or even at home, when you have someone, as you said, as Adam Grant said, constantly stabbing your back. So your focus is not on prospering, but your focus is on protecting yourself. And this is a clear sign. Or I wrote a whole list of signs, and I have it here in front of me. So when you're also ignoring your needs, when there is no self-care, we forget about ourselves in the need to please the other person. So because we want to be liked, because we want to belong, in a family, at work, in a team, in a relationship, it's in the various contexts. Then usually I would, then this is from my experience, in a toxic relationship, we have a lot of hope. And I have noticed this in me. I had the experience of it, and also in some other colleagues, especially in the change, in the industry that we help people, we support people. So for me, I hoped that with my knowledge, with my resources, with my love as well, I can help heal the relationship, the toxic relationship. But in order for the relationship to heal, both ends need to want to heal and want to change and want to fix the relationship.
Yes, that's so true. And sometimes, what type of relationships do we call toxic? Toxic with the people that are mostly throwing all their negativity to us, or they're gossiping all the time, they're complaining all the time, taking things very badly, taking you very badly, talking bad about other people. So these kind of people, we are, of course, definitely come to the setting boundaries part. But there are so many reasons why we need to keep ourselves apart from those people. And sometimes, as you say, realizing that, okay, we are currently in a toxic relationship, and I need to, in the business context, it's even more difficult because we don't pick up our colleagues, right? We can pick up our close circles and social circles, friends, not family, but at work, like family, you don't get to choose your colleagues all the time. And we need to find this common ground to have this nice communication among us. Whether they be toxic to us or us being toxic to them, we need to openly communicate some issues. Like you mentioned in your newsletter at the end, you said like you just had this chat and you cleared yourself out with your needs, your expectations, and her what is her business and what is not, very clearly communicating that, setting that clear boundary between you and between her. And we're always talking about the relationship between humans when it comes to toxicity, but I also find it very, very important, the relationship between us and our work itself, yes, our job itself, it's our business itself, right? If you think of that entity as a person, if he or she or it has a persona, how would this entity look like, be like, feel like? I have had a different background than many other coaches. I worked in the industry of construction, architecture, interior architecture. I had many roles in different countries. And in my current job, I have a totally different relationship with what I had back then. I mean, I can dig deeper into this if you wish to, but I also find it very important. What is a relationship between who these relationship is taking place, or between what and who?
Yeah.
How can we strategize it in order to be away from that toxicity? It's also very important, right? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It can be work, it can be social media.
Yes.
It can be, I posted today the self-expedition question with an example of a client that I had. It can be with rest, with concepts, because we have a relationship, we have a attitude towards things, and these attitudes and these beliefs and values that many times they're highly unconscious. So we are not aware of what's going on inside of us is affecting our life, how it drives our life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming aware of these attitudes, of these beliefs, of values can really show us what is our relationship to things, to people, to concepts.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have, as the client had, if you have a relationship towards rest, I cannot rest because if I rest, if I don't do, I do not live. That is a really strong belief. So her relationship with rest was a toxic one.
Yes. Yes. And some people have toxic relationships with money, with time, with
Yeah.
rest. Absolutely. It's a very important point to mention, I guess. The toxic relationship with money is blocking very many entrepreneurs, very many business people from earning good. Because that feeling of abundancy comes with the lack of that toxicity with the relationship with money.
Yeah.
So when you feel like you are worthy of earning more, you really do earn more. If
Exactly.
you're saying that, okay, no, I haven't worked, is the money doesn't grow on trees and this and that, like when you are raised with all kind of concepts around money, how difficult to earn money, how much you have to work to earn money, then you are limiting yourself again in your current situation, which might really not be the case.
Yeah.
So it's really important.
Yeah, you have to work hard to earn money, otherwise you will not. And that's a belief, that's a limiting belief.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We all have some sorts.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, very many limiting beliefs about many things, but yes, with money, with time, with rest, with with self-care, we tend to forget many things around those things and how important they are. That's still true.
Yeah. So shall we switch now and talk about boundaries? I see here, if someone is watching us at the moment, please post your comments in the comments part, and let us know if you have questions, if you have an experience with a toxic relationship. So join in the conversation. We're happy to hear your opinion. And until I see a comment, we'll continue, Dilek. Okay.
Okay, wonderful.
So maybe before we start talking about boundaries and how to set healthy boundaries, maybe you can tell us about your new project. I'm very excited to hear about it.
Oh, yes, sure. Thank you. So I have this upcoming program, which is going to take place 6 weeks consequently in an online platform like Zoom, like this one. It's an online live group coaching and training program. And the name of it is like the New Year's resolutions 2023, keeping them made easy, because we all have new goals for the new year. And with January, they're super, with February, there's like, and then we tend to lose control. I mean, it's difficult to keep on track when you want to change and transform. And the things that I have realized in the past years that I was working with clients, Victoria, is that people want to jump into the process of change without any preparation. This is something that I have done myself. I have failed dramatically. So I'm trying to help support my clients now get ready for change, because it is as important as the process of change itself. So getting ready is almost like a 6-module program for me, with the self-reflection, with what to change, how to change, what will happen, what are the step-by-step procedure to be taken in the direction of change. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about even a weekly, monthly, daily systematic to check in with and follow up with those change procedures. So I find it very exciting as well. In 2022, I'm offering this program for once. In 2023, the beginning, I'm going to offer it one more time. So that's the plan. So I'm very excited. Tell me about your program now.
So first, before I tell you about my program, we will post the link in the comments on the YouTube video so that people can contact you if they're interested.
Perfect. It's going to start next week, Monday, actually. It's very, and I have a couple of yes. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
There is a bit more time to register.
Yes.
Yes, good. For me, at the moment, I'm working with a lot of corporate clients. I have a lot of trainings at the moment with corporate clients in November and December. And then in January, I'm starting again the NLP practitioner live in Vienna. This time it starts, and maybe in Macedonia, in Macedonian language. So the Macedonian group is not planned yet, but the Vienna one is. And yes, look, I will share information when the time comes. I mean, in the coming days.
Wonderful.
Okay. So, so healthy boundaries. What are boundaries? You know, when you think of a boundary, you think of maybe of a fence or of a state boundary. So it means that this is my space around me where I feel comfortable, where I can be me, I can be authentic in my own skin, and I feel good, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So the boundaries basically define the psychological and the physiological space around us. If someone comes too close to us, we feel like our personal space has been invaded, and this is breaking our boundary, as simple as that. So this also happens in the psychological way. So I have my newsletter open, and I posted in the newsletter a few questions that you can ask yourself when you are setting boundaries. So what is me and what is not me is one question.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. Very good question.
Yes.
When I think about the concept of boundaries, immediately brings up the concept of freedom to my mind.
Yeah.
Because when you have healthy boundaries, you have healthy freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are actually qualified enough to answer this question, where does me end and where do the others begin? It's really a very, very important point to think about.
Yeah.
So there are the beginnings and ends of some certain freedoms, right? So boundaries, if we set healthy boundaries, we find freedom within the external world.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating, really. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, as you said, where do I end and where do you begin? And what's inside of me and what's outside of me? What's my responsibility and what's not my responsibility?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have a really interesting concept, especially in relationships, that I learned from one of my mentors and teachers, Joke Land. And when she was talking about relationships, she would put her hands like this.
Mm-hmm.
And she would say, you know, I am I, you are you, and together we make one whole.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both flexible. We can be separate and we can be together.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are like this, then there is a lot of entanglement. You know, you cannot separate it. I cannot be me and you cannot be you, because, you know, it's difficult to, you know. So this is, for me, this is no boundaries. And this is healthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And whenever we make a little switch and when we click to one another, actually this makes everything perfect, right? Because we are keeping our boundaries and we're still connected with one another in means of need. Wow, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to describe it. Thank you. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So what would we say? What would we advise? How to set healthy boundaries? What is important?
Mm-hmm. It's really very important. I mean, when we talk about boundaries, and it's very much talked like this in the business context as well. Knowing when to say yes, knowing when to say no, knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. Yes. So it's like having a little figure in your hand, in the palm of your hand. It's like one part yes, one part no, and every time, like a cheat sheet, you check it out. Shall I say yes? Shall I say no to this person, this opportunity, this project, whatever? And we always talk about saying no to particular things. Okay, whenever you're certain that it doesn't serve you well, or your personal self, or be it your personal self or your professional self, which identity it might be, if it's not serving you well, you have to say no, right? But there's sometimes there's this unclarity around what to say yes and what to say no to, and what do we do at that very moment. Many experts say take a break and take some deep breaths and align from within and say, okay, does that serve me well? Check in with your gut feeling. Some people say, check it with your intellectual background. Did a similar situation serve you well? Or was it wrong at the end of the day? So searching the answers with our gut feeling or searching the answer with our personal or professional experience might be ways of doing it. But you mentioned something else also before, the self-care. How is our wellness level to make a right decision at the very moment of saying yes or no to something? If I am healthy in my physiology, if I'm healthy in my psychology, if I'm healthy and connected with what am I serving to, and if my wellness is okay to do many things, it can be okay to make the right decision at that very moment. So whenever we are talking around those topics with my clients, be it in a group setting or a personal setting, Victoria, I tell people, you need to feel complete in and of yourself by means of, as I said, like body, mind, soul, all those alignment levels. If you're conscious of who you are, what you want to do, how you did it before, would you ever do it again? So it's a set, it's a package, you know? If your wellness level, so it comes with self-care, I'm going to go to self-care. If your wellness level is, okay, check and done, then you won't need that cheat sheet every time you say like, is it a yes, is it a no? So the setting boundaries will be much more easier. This is what I tell people.
Yeah.
Because you feel healthy, you are also healthy to make decisions, and you are also healthy to follow up with what those yeses or nos or the healthy boundaries for you. I also am very, very much wondering what you think about around.
Yeah. I completely agree with what you said, and I would like to add that for many of us, many people, and me included, I was not taught to say no, because every time I would say no, I would feel guilty. And then I ended up exhausting myself and feeling drained and resenting the people to which I said yes. So we go back to your what you said is as feel how you feel inside and be connected with yourself, take good care of yourself. And if it is a no, it is a no. And maybe it is a no at this given moment. For example, if you don't have the capacity at this given moment to respond to something, you can say, not now. Now I want to, it's okay to go and close the door behind you and take the time and space that you need. Mm-hmm. And then when you gather the resources within, you can go out, and whether it's a partner or a boss or a colleague, and you can sit down and you can communicate, and but you need to commit to doing it afterwards. Yes. So sometimes it can be a no at this moment, and we need to get rid of the guilt behind. Mm-hmm. And usually it comes with the pleasing personality. I want to please everybody, because if I say no, will you love me afterwards? Will I belong afterwards? And this is all at a very deep level, connected at a very deep level. So mm-hmm. saying no for me, yes, it's one thing, and we agree here, and saying yes and feeling yourself, feeling your body, as you said. Yes. And communication is a key. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Communication is key when you're setting boundaries, because it depends on how you say it. If you just burst out and you make a big scene, then of course it's toxic. So it's toxic communication. So communicating your needs, speaking from first person singular, mm-hmm. not blaming, like you made me and you made me feel like this and you made me, blaming. So speaking from first person, how I feel and what I feel at this moment, and if I'm hurt, I'm hurt, and if I'm angry, I'm angry, and maybe distinguishing this. Many psychologists say we need to distinguish actually the feelings from the identity. Yes, it's not I am angry, but I feel angry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then there is a little space in between that gives us room to breathe and to make the right decision.
Yes, or this situation makes me feel this way or that way. It
Yeah.
is you that make me feel this way, but it is the current situation that we created together makes me feel bad or sad or unproductive or whatever that might be. Which so I don't need to get rid of you for my future, but I need to get rid of that situation, or we
Yeah.
get rid of that situation. So
Yeah.
the relationships, no matter how toxic they might seem, might continue working out when the right communication is placed in between. I totally do agree. Sometimes this open communication might work immediately. Sometimes it might work like in a couple of months or weeks or years, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't at all at the current life situation of these two human beings. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it will never work out because you are in the same context with that person for a specific reason. You know, life in the universe, whatever you might call it, has its ways to bring people together for some reason. And my mentor, she told me once that some people act as a primary school in your life. Some people act as gymnasium. Some people act as universities or PhDs, you know, masters and PhD levels. There's so much to learn from whom you are in contact with. But don't take somebody who might only work as a primary school function in your life and put that person in the level of a PhD by means of knowledge and know-how and information you can be getting from that person. Everybody plays a different role. Like we all need primary school. We all need academical education as well. But you need to differentiate who's that person's role in your life so that you can eliminate the relationship becoming toxic because of your wrong expectations.
Yeah.
Around this, yes.
Yeah. Very, very good metaphor. I love it.
I love it too, right? It is amazing.
I love it. Someone is a university and someone is a primary school. I really like it. Yes. So yeah, it's again we're coming back to the self and to self-awareness and to what is my relationship, for example, with this toxic cousin. It can be a cousin as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what do I allow in my life? So if there is a toxic cousin or a friend or someone who constantly calls you and who constantly complains and who constantly has a problem and you feel like you are a punching bag, we all have had, or we have them in our life. And you notice this, you become aware, so you just explain it. You say it in a nice way. Listen, at the moment I'm not feeling very well, so I have my own troubles and I cannot listen to your troubles. So maybe you recommend to them that they see a professional, a coach, a therapist. It can be anything. And this is how we create this space and the boundary around us so that we do not, because as you said before, some people are there in our life, we choose them, and some people we don't choose. So they're given to us and we need to learn how to deal with it. And we need to learn how to teach them also how to treat us.
Yes, absolutely. And in those kind of relationships, for example, let's go with the example of the cousin. Your cousin is not somebody that you can, you know, start to neglect as of tomorrow, right? It's a part of the family and the relationship is ongoing. If you don't want to cut it and have the consequences around it. So with family members, of course, these kind of relationships are very important, but I find it also advantageous if we have those relationships within the family. You can tell them, you know, we have a lifetime ahead of us. This particular day, I might not be the right contact for you to share this because I have my troubles of my own, but we have a life in front of us. We will be talking about your problems. I will be there for you, but give me a couple of months. I mean, this might be a nice way to formulate it. And I find it also very contextually connected in the business world. So we have our colleagues that are coming to us, bragging us, like blah, 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 draining our energy. Yes, this is something that's happening. We can always tell them, you know what, we are in this project, I don't know, for the following year together. And we will definitely come to the point that we will find a solution to this. And I will be helping, supporting you with this. I am with you on this both. And we're heading in the same direction. But give me some time because I need this and that to be handled today, tomorrow, whatever. But from next week, Wednesday afternoon at 2:00 on, I will be yours. Then people are relieved. Then they say, okay, when to contact me, for what to contact me.
Yeah.
We have a good chunk of time in front of us. It shouldn't be that necessary.
Yeah.
That necessarily that many. So for all relationships, I find it a good way to deliver it, to time it a little bit, But for particular relationships that we meet people in workshops or in coaching sessions in a limited amount of time, it is also important to say what our role is in that communication in that particular moment. And for how long? For the following 50 minutes, I will be in that role.
Yeah.
For the 75 minutes, I will be in that role. This is also integrating this time aspect to the communication has relieved me, my pain points in my past, and it might also maybe help our audience.
Yeah, so defining the time frame and the role we are in this time frame. That's really good. Really, really good advice. Yeah. Go on.
I also wanted to, if it's not too long, wanted to talk about it in the for the context of the relationship that we have with our job. So I have this role of an architect, interior architect for many years. I love to work with people, but I didn't want to work in construction sites or renovation sites any longer. So that relationships between me and my job started to become toxic to me. I was feeling like to some certain extent where I speak with my clients, prepare the projects, present, get the approval, start working on that project. I was feeling like I was fulfilling my potential 100%. But when it comes to problems in the construction sites and logistics and all those things, which I may lack some abilities, I cannot drive that big LKW and bring the products here if something, comes late. So there were many things out of my control, which I felt like, okay, this is becoming more and more toxic to me because there's stuff that I cannot control, but I still go and need to apologize for. It's not always the case, but this is just an example, a little bit exaggerated also. So it has become toxic to me, and I wanted to change it to some extent. And the moment I shifted to coaching and training, and I worked with other tools to construct new realities for people, it's not bricks and, like all the stones and beton any longer, but like bricks of mind, bricks of different mental constructions. I felt the relief and I said, oh my goodness, this is something that I love. And this relationship that I have with my work, with my job, with my business, started to bloom from that. Because it was always communication and products, but not necessarily in the physical realm. So we can also go checking with ourselves. Is it a relationship with our job? Do we love our job? Do we hate it? Are we in between? And what can happen? So it's also a good check-in point.
Yes, and notice, as you said, when you come home from work or when you finish a session, or do you need? I have felt the need of when I come home after an 8 hours work from the office, I would feel the need to just sit and stare at a dot on the wall just to recover my energy. Yeah. I was completely in like out of the world, just dot or like scrolling on the phone for 1 hour so that I can recover from my energy. And then after a training, for example, I feel energized. I feel like I can go 3 days more and I'm full of energy. So this is what you were saying, and thank you for mentioning that, because this leads me to mentioning, after a relationship, work context, as we said, a person feel how you feel after it. So feel, how does it feel in your body? Do you feel energized? Do you feel happy? Do you feel drained? Do you feel sad? Do you feel like, or so what is the feeling? And then you can notice if you are in a toxic relationship with the thing or the person, and you need to set boundaries.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to give an example here. It doesn't necessarily be the relationship with your paid work, but it can also be with the volunteering work. For example, I know how energized you are when you're even talking about the role that you're taking in PWN. And
Yeah.
how hard we work for all of us in our mentoring program since very many years. And every time you are in this in-person events, you're like shining and bright and helping and supporting, and you say, yes, there's so much to do, Dilek, but I'm okay. It's great. I mean, we're going good. It's good. You're always energized, and it's transferred to the other side like very easy.
Yeah.
That positivity, that creativity, and it should also be like this in the paid work environment as well. You need to be that creative, that positive, or you need to convince people that if they let you be that identity, you will deliver results with positivity. Just let go. Don't micromanage me. I know what to do, but don't come and gossip or throw your negativity all at me. I'm good with my work. Let me do be. I will deliver positive results. So it's not very easy to communicate. But
yes, we're starting a new subject now.
I'm
And we can talk forever. Dilek, I enjoy talking to you. It's a pleasure, but I'm also minding the time, and I know that you have a coaching session coming up. So I think that we will wrap it up also for the viewers. We've been going on now for almost 45 minutes because we were late. Or 50 minutes, remember, but yeah. So I want to thank you, Dilek. Thank you for this this amazing conversation. I learned, as always, a lot from you, and I hope our viewers learn a lot from both of us. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for being here. I didn't see any comments. I need to check also this technology again. I will check it, I promise, for the next lives. And yes, I'll post the links of me and Dilek so that you can get in touch with Dilek in the comments. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for this invitation. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you. Have an amazing rest of the day.
Have an amazing day and month of November, everybody. Okay. Ciao.
Thank you.